Hello, we are back. This video is going to be about lighting. So let's jump right into it. So the first thing I want to go over are different kinds of lights that you're probably going to want for specifically self-tapes. The two that I know that most people get are either a softbox or a ring light. There are different uses for each of those lights. For a ring light, a lot of times it's used for music videos, for a very stylistic look where you get a ring in the eye. That's really what the ring light was really made for, was to get this specific look. The softbox is made to pretty much just smooth out all these shadows, but still keep definition in the face. So whereas with a ring light, you put it around your light and it flattens and it kind of gets rid of all those shadows from a front point of view, the softbox is made to where I can move it around, kind of get exactly what I want, but also get that nice beauty look with the soft light. If you look at the image right now, you're gonna see the highlights and the shadows and see how they kind of fade off into each other. So when you're choosing a light for video work, you're gonna have to deal with color temperature. These color temperatures range on a scale from 1000 Kelvin to 10,000 Kelvin. With 1000 Kelvin, you're gonna get a lot more warmer light, and with a 10,000 Kelvin, you're gonna get a lot more cooler light. With newer lights and more expensive lights, you're going to have control over what color temperature you have. But for most lights, you're going to usually be around 5200 Kelvin. 5200 Kelvin is about the color of daylight in the middle of the day. So when dealing with different color temperatures of lights, you're going to want to use white balance, which we talked about in a previous video. This helps nail exactly what look you're going for. And usually you want to get it done in camera, not in editing. You can change the color around quite a bit in editing, but it's much easier for you in the long run just to get it right the first time. There's three main lights. There's the key light, the backlight, and the fill. What I'm using right now is pretty much a key light and a fill. I don't have a backlight, and you can tell because there's no light separating me from the background. A key light is your main source of light and is usually more in front of you and brighter than the other two. For me, my main light is this softbox. I have it high up at an angle to where I still can get an eye light, but it still creates shadows and depth. Your fill light is to make sure that you don't have too harsh of shadows. So for me, I usually have a window to the right of me that fills in my face as well as a little bit of the background, but still keeps it dark enough to separate me. A backlight is usually a harsher light which hits the back of the performer to separate them from the background. These are not always necessary, but do add a good little kick of light if you want it. For me, I don't usually need one because I'm usually on a lighter background and my hair is usually dark enough to separate me from the background. Along with having no backlight, I try to make sure that my key light doesn't hit much of the background at all. If anything, I have my fill light almost fill in the background for me. Something that helps with keeping my key light off of the background is pulling myself away from the wall and make sure my light is at an angle which it doesn't hit the back wall. To me, this makes a huge difference and it makes something go from this to this. With all skin tones, you're going to have what are called undertones. Some people have yellow undertones, some people have red undertones, some people have green undertones. You're going to have to look at yourself and decide what light works best for you. This also goes along with what you're wearing and what color temperature light you have. So play around with a lot of different color temperatures and figure out what's best for you. The number one most important thing in my mind is to get an eye light. An eye light is the little bit of highlight in anyone's eyes. The eye light to me brings life and character to someone's performance. If I can't see their eyes, I don't know what they're doing, even if I can see their entire face. It creates a connect between me and the viewer. The number one thing I look for whenever I set up a self-tape is this eye light. If I don't have it, I know I need to change my lighting. A good example of this is in the movie King Kong. When King Kong dies in the end, the animators took away his eye light to show that the life had left his body. We don't want to be lifeless forms in front of a camera, so make sure you have an eye light. Eye light is another reason why I highly recommend a softbox. With ring lights, you're always going to have an eye light that is a ring. And to me, it's a little bit more distracting than just a softbox. Another thing I want to talk about is lighting actors of color. Since light reacts differently to different shades of skin, you're going to have to light different performers in different ways. For darker skin tones, you're going to want to have a large, soft source. This makes sure that there's no hot spot on the talent. Darker skin absorbs more light than lighter skin, which means you're either going to have more of it or a stronger light. And if you don't have a stronger light source, move the light closer to your subject. Another thing to think about when you have darker skin is what color background you have behind you. Lighter backgrounds usually work better because you can easily tell the performer from the background. This isn't necessary all the time, especially if your key light is the thing separating you from the background, such as in this case. If you have darker skin and a darker background, and you have the ability to, make sure to use a backlight to separate you from the background. My opinion is to use the biggest, softest light that you can find. Harsh lights tend to leave harsh shadows. Alright, so that is it for lighting. If you have any questions, leave them below. I will absolutely answer them. The next video is sound, so get ready for that. Subscribe if you would like. Again, these are all my opinions. If you don't agree with them, that's completely fine. If you find something else that works for you, then absolutely do it. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you in the next video. I want you to make a YouTube channel, Kamal. I'll be your manager.